Hello.
Hi, Magda.
We are live on Coach Arya's channels of the internet.
Yeah.
And I was told that I have to make a joke, but just because I was told I have to make a joke, now I can't think of anything funny to say. So let's just hope that.
That was actually funny.
Yeah. Okay, good. As long as you're laughing. It's my job in life to make people laugh. That's okay. There are many jobs that are much worse, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome everyone who is joining us live, and welcome everyone who is watching this a little later. My name is Magda. I'm the CEO of Coach Arya, and with me is one of our alumni, Prakash Rao. Hello, Praki.
Thanks, Magda. Hi.
And today's little mini session is about NLP, or neuro-linguistic programming, which I'm not going to lie, the first time I heard the term NLP, I'm like, oh, wonder what it stands for. And then I looked up that it's neuro-linguistic programming, and the first thing that jumped into my head, I kid you not, was brainwashing. And I was like, what is this? And then I did more Googling and it was fine. But at first it was terrifying. So anyway, today we're going to find out about NLP, aka neuro-linguistic programming, from someone who knows it, uses it, practices it, teaches it, and for our context, most importantly, he connects how NLP can be helpful for a coach and in coaching. So, Praki, let's maybe start with the basics. What is NLP?
So, neuro-linguistic programming further expands to how I think is neuro. It's not the what, it's the how. Linguistic is language. Now, generally, language is not your experience. Language is the representation of your experience. So if someone asked you, how are you today? And if you said, I'm fantastic. So it's the representation of your experience. So that's linguistics, the language that we use. And programming is all our physiological and psychological patterns. So the way you sit, the way you stand, the way you do things. Yeah. So the way you eat. I don't know whether you have noticed a lot of people who are right-handed generally eat the left side, and people who are left-handed generally eat on the right side. Yeah.
I never thought about that. Sorry.
Yeah.
This is gonna happen a lot, Praki. The way that my programming is that when I hear something I don't know it's interesting, I'm like,
yeah. So so all this physiological and psychological patterns, all this put together is the study of NLP in the simplest way.
okay. So basically everything about human behavior and communication.
Yeah.
Cool, easy, sweet. So let's cover all of it in 10 minutes.
Yes.
So now that we know what NLP is, can you tie it into coaching and the coaching process, I should say?
So in the coaching process, Magda, what do we do essentially is we exhibit presencing. Yeah, we ask a lot of questions to the client or the coachee, and we notice, share, and ask as part of the coaching process. Now, what happens using NLP is that you're putting some structure to what we are doing. So imagine, if there is a particular word that a client is associating with any of the experience, one of the competencies says that coach's ability to check the language that client is using. So knowing little more about the language, knowing about the language predicates. So whether it is sensorily how it is linked, whether the client is using more of visual, auditory, or kinesthetic, playing back the language in the same way really helps in the coaching process. So how a coach can show presence in front of the client, how to be completely active, because there is always this dilemma that any coach that brings in is, when I'm speaking to my coachee, there is something happening in the background. So how do you cancel that noise and be completely present? When you have more tools for observation, I think you're more there. It's like upgrading your scanning process. So that's what NLP can do. And let's say if somebody is completely speaking only at the behavioral level, yeah. So knowing process of logical levels of change, that behavior is at the lower end of the pyramid, and what it does is you're only speaking about the ability of what you can do and what you cannot do, yeah. And when you ask a question to the client about the identities or beliefs or values or even the purpose, then the client shifts the gear. That itself is a change in the coaching process. Yeah. So just knowing the logical levels of change and questioning about where the client is in the logical levels of change itself is a interesting pattern to watch. That's what
So it's like going deeper essentially in the
yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, yeah. So the whole process of coaching is using NLP is unpacking the unconscious in the first go. So if we talk about GROW model, GRO, unpacking the unconscious, and when you come to the action, it is putting the unconscious back to the conscious, so that I can take intentional actions. So that's the whole process. And I'm doing something I don't know. A lot of times, your clients will tell you that I don't know the answer. I don't know anything about this. I'm feeling like this, but I don't know what's happening to me. So that I don't know is the unpacking part of the coaching process. And then when there is that aha moment of the awareness, and then we say, okay, now that you have this awareness, what is that you're going to do? So putting back unconscious to the conscious, so that they take intentional actions for themselves.
Okay. So I'm not going to lie. This sounds quite complex. I mean, I know that in the end, we're all simple humans. We're just, a bag of meat with conscious thought. But it sounds like a lot that you have to learn. So, it's funny, like when I learn about a new concept in psychology or coaching, it's like you can distill it down to a definition like you did with NLP, but then there's so much depth. And I'm just wondering, like, is this something that's learnable for a coach to be able to just deploy it? Because what am I trying to say? It sounds like there's a lot of thought that has to happen in order to be able to utilize NLP before. It's like, how long does it take, I suppose, to make this an automatic thing that a coach can use? Am I making sense?
Yeah. So as simple as, so let me answer it in two ways. Number one, concepts are not complex. Maybe there are many, but then these are simple things that we already know. All that we are doing is to give nomenclature to it. Now imagine, you said that, hey Prakash, tomorrow if I am free, I will call you at 6 p.m. IST. Okay. Now, what did you mean by telling, if I am free, I will call you at 6 p.m. IST?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What I meant was, if it was me, if I remember to put it in my calendar and there's no other conflict that comes up, and 6 p.m. is when I have my breakfast. Well, you're 6 p.m. So if my brain is sufficiently awake to remember that I have the meeting, then I will pick up the phone and I will text you on WhatsApp. Actually, that's what that means to me.
Fantastic. Now, if I am free, I will call you also means if I am not free, I will not call you. If is a double implication.
Yes.
Yeah. So, it's like telling, if I have money, I'll be happy. So I'm also telling my brain, if I don't have money, I'll not be happy. Yeah. So simply not using if and say, when I am free, I will call you tomorrow is a lot more easier on your brain than telling, if I am free, I will call you.
Oh, I love that, because it's also like, it's forward thinking, and it's also easier to imagine it, I suppose. It's like, if you take away the choice, it's like, no, this is going to happen. It's just when it's going to happen. I like that.
Yeah. So it's that simple. We don't have to, all over learn the words like if, but, challenge, problem, stuff like that. But then just we are giving the nomenclature, because if, even in the computer language, if x is equal to 0, printf not is equal to 0, scanf. We know the computer coding. So it simply works like that. Even our brain programs like that.
I love that. So in coaching, then, like, I'm just trying to think of examples. When we're setting a goal with the client, I imagine that this is quite useful because we, in a session or for the relationship with the client, we want to understand, like, how will they know that they've reached the goal? So instead of saying, if you blah, blah, then what? So when you, how will that feel? What will that mean, etc.?
Yeah. It's like, simply saying that if you achieve this, what will happen to you? Or saying that, when you achieve this, what will happen to you? So you're not confusing the brain in any way. So because one of the brain principles, Magda, is that brain needs specific command. Brain needs specific command. So, how do you give specific command to the brain?
That's really powerful. Okay, I love it. Maybe I should join your course.
Please, you're welcome.
Yeah, I think I will. So I'll ask you the next question in a sec, but for all of you watching, Praki is starting a 30-hour elective program with Coach Arya, so it can count towards your credential renewal or towards your initial credential. And it's a 30-hour training course in this, so that you understand these nuances and you can just deploy them like that when you are coaching someone. So email us, go to our website if you're interested. It's starting in 1 month, few weeks.
Yeah, 25th September.
Thank you, 25th September. Yeah, please take a look at coachari.com. Okay, that's fascinating. I'm just trying to think right now, Praki, just so you know what's happening in my brain. I'm just thinking of all the different times that I've used if language with myself.
Yeah.
And it's like, now that tap is opened, my brain's just going crazy. So that's why I seem a little distracted maybe. Which actually brings me to my next question. What does NLP do to a coach? And I think I'm experiencing the first initial tsunami wave. But I imagine after 30 hours of training with you, there's a bit more that happens. Tell me.
So one of the key things that should happen to the coach with any kind of psychology learning is that you're putting some structure to your observation skills, because all that we are doing before we ask question is observe, because question is the output from the coach. So what's the input is my ability to observe the language, observe the gestures, observe non-verbal cues, observe the energy shift, observe the tone in the language. They say that it's the difference that makes the difference. Just to notice that small differences. Now that is the key. So when you have some structure to your observation process, it makes a sea change in the way you're doing your coaching process. Okay, so that is number one. Number two is one of the key things that we do with our clients is partnering. And partnering generally comes with very, very high self-awareness. Yeah. So NLP, before you kind of impact anybody else, will definitely impact you. Whether you like it or not, it will definitely impact you. So when your self-awareness is at a very, very high profile level, you do a lot good to yourself. And when you do a lot good to yourself, you are definitely going to do a lot better to your clients. So self-awareness is the key. You kind of know yourself. What really is happening to you. You'll understand. How do you reframe? For yourself, what kind of patterns that you operate with. For example, I know how I get angry. There is this completely a complete code of how I get angry. So it puts me in a very a control position for me to use anger when I want it. So I really know what really makes me emotional. What kind of things makes me emotional. So what really happens is if I'm getting into that zone, because you're aware, you can control it a lot. Self-awareness is the key. That's what makes you, that's what empowers you to, partner with your client. Otherwise, either we collude or sometimes get confused, sometimes get stuck, or don't know how to, help our clients. And that's kind of disempowering for a coach, because after the session, coach generally, is the first person to feel good about what really happened. Because, client is going to take action a little later, but coach is the person who is going to first feel that aha types. So self-awareness is the key. So these are the two things that really happens to anybody who is going through this program.
So when you talk about self-awareness in the coach and then being able to deploy those, whatever the coach has, what's coming up for me is it just feels a bit deliberate, I guess. It feels a bit planned, and I know it's not. And, we talk about coaching presence and being there for the client. And I'm just wondering, like, is it difficult to be able to learn all this and kind of make it part of your repertoire and just deploy it, naturally without having the thoughts in the back of your mind of, oh, here's how I'm going to use this? Because then you're distracting yourself from the client.
Yeah. So, Magda, that's a fantastic question. Thanks for asking that. So, when I'm self-aware, when I've gone through a model, imagine that I've, known logical levels of change for myself, or let's say I know brain principles for myself. Now, what really happens to me is it's already there in my unconscious stored. So, in the right time, when if whatever, I can bring it to the table, I bring it to the table, because it is practically impossible for anybody, including me, to remember all the concepts that I've learned in a 45 minutes conversation. Now, you spot it, you got it. That's the key. So in that 45 minutes or 60 minutes conversation, if I spotted something, then I've got it. Because what is wired will get fired. So the process of learning is wiring. So when it is wired, it will fire. You really don't have to worry about it. When now if you switch on a light in the kitchen, you are not worrying whether the wiring is there or not. It's already wired. So all you have to do is switch on. So it's as simple a process as that. So can I remember everything and deliberately act? I think it is impossible. It happens only in the movies because you have many retakes. In the live situation, whatever comes to the mind, you are natural, you are partnering, just that, you have wired many things. That is giving you an extra advantage. That's it.
Love it. And speaking of things that happen in movies, yesterday, Praki, I cut my own hair, just like they do in movies. There's always a scene where the woman goes, yeah, doesn't work like that. So I'm the first to tell you that art does not always imitate life. Also, you and Ujjwal should get together and exchange jokes. You're very good at all the rhyming. Ujjwal is very good at dad jokes. Together, the two of you will be unstoppable. You can do like the coaching comedy duo live tour.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Well, Praki, thank you so much for walking us through NLP and applications to the coaching process and how it can impact the coach. Let's close with a little pitch of your program, your elective that you're doing with Coach Arya, which is starting in September. We'll be doing it a few times a year because it sounds fascinating and ridiculously useful to anyone who's a coach. So can you tell us a little bit about what people can expect to be covered in that elective?
So we are covering everything that is related to sensory representation. How do we think? What kind of language any person who is oriented to any of the sensory representation, that is visual, auditory, kinesthetic, uses, how to spot sensory things. We are doing a lot of reframing techniques. We are doing perceptual positions. We are doing change of states. We are doing classical six steps reframing. We are doing visualization as a tool. Fantastic tool, largely used by sports people, largely used by people who are in the movies. Incredible tool for personal transformation and planning for something that you want to achieve. Well, let's say you have a public speaking 2 weeks later. Visualization tool is a fantastic tool for you to prepare even before you get onto the stage. So we are also doing meta models and meta programs. I want to be a little jargon free. So it is how we process information and how we sort information. So a lot of things, how we are taking information from the ecosystem and then processing it internally and then representing it back. That's a big chunk that we are doing, and much more.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot in 30 hours, but sounds very practical. I love practical things. I'm not a theoretical person. If I learn something in theory, but I don't know how to apply it, I'm going to forget it right away. But this sounds super useful.
And because you
Awesome.
said practical, Magda,
Yeah.
everything that we do is going to have real-time demonstrations and practice within that 30 hours. And everybody who is going through the program is also going to practice that as part of their coaching outside peer coaching or client coaching, and they're also going to get mentored and evaluated on the recordings that they're going to submit.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. And we are exactly at 20 minutes. Good job.
Yeah,
High five.
thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. I will be back here on Thursday, same time. I don't actually know with who, but it'll be someone. I'll be here. And I'll see you all then. Thanks for coming today.
Thanks, Magda. Nice talking to you. Bye.